Hello, hello, hello. Akambi, how you doing over there?
Doing great.
Awesome. Welcome, everybody. Let's get some excitement in the chat. Share where you guys are coming from. What's up? What's up? Welcome, welcome. Greetings from Huatulco, Oaxaca, Mexico. That's where we're at. Where are you guys at? Let's show some love in the chat. Akambi in the capital. Hey, Talia. Good to see you on. Well, good to read you on. I wish we can see the people. That would be awesome. Epic. Well, we have some 10 people in the chat. Let's just get this party started. Welcome, everybody, to the first official episode of AuthentiK TV. I'm so excited. This has been planned for a very long time. Actually, Akambi, this was his inspiration, and he shared it with me. I think it was back in May, and I was like, I don't know if this is gonna be good. But you know, we looked into it, we prayed about it, let it go for a little bit, came back again, and here we are. You know, the biggest inspiration for us came when obviously I launched my YouTube video last year. And so many people, after I shared my story, and Akambi did such an amazing job interviewing me and just asking the right questions and sharing my story, and that video has gone viral, has over 7,000 views today, a year later. Our life has changed so much since then. And since then, we've gotten emails, we've gotten phone calls, we've gotten DMs, we've gotten text messages, and we have heard so many other people's stories that either related to, most of them related to my story. Obviously, my partner, Paul, a lot of our conversations is on our stories in our time in the business, and it has been amazing. And you know what? We wanted to give a lot of people the space to be able to share their story about what happened as to why they left their business. You know, a lot of people in that space, they neglect those that have left because we're quitters or we're nobodies or we lost our dream. And what happened to Akambi, myself, and you'll also hear from Paul's story, is just that the vibe just didn't fit. There was a lot of things that we went through that our energy and our souls just weren't prospering in that environment, and we had to go. And because of our skills and because of the guidance through God, we have found happiness outside. And so today you guys are going to hear Akambi's story now. So now we're flipping the script where I'm going to be interviewing Akambi, and I'm also going to be interviewing my love, Paul, who's amazing. And you guys really get to hear his story on their side of things and their side of the business, and why and how their business that grew and blew up in Jamaica and what happened to it today. So I definitely want to introduce our speakers for today. We have, of course, the co-founder of AuthentiK. Oh my gosh, we have been expanding so much. So co-founder of AuthentiK 1.0, AuthentiK Academy, and now AuthentiK TV. What's up, Akambi?
What up? What up? What up? Hey, Michelle.
So excited to have you on.
I'm excited.
It's exciting.
Yeah.
Of course. And then, of course, we also have my lover here, my boo of almost 1 year. Paul and I were actually cross-lined, for those of you guys that know. And Paul has always had a thing for me, you know. But obviously my ex Upline banned that conversation and banned us getting together. But I feel like Paul and I, our souls have been connected for a long time. And ever since we left the business, we reconnected, and we've been dating for a year, traveling the world. And I'm so excited for you guys to listen to Paul's side of the story. So give it on up for awesome. Thank you, my love. Are you excited? Doesn't he look great? Do you guys love his haircut? All right, guys. So today's episode is really about Akambi and Paul talking about their growth in building the Jamaica market. And unfortunately, just about a month ago, I believe, one of their team members that was a business partner in their Jamaica business did pass away to the next lifetime. And we just want to take and give a moment of silence for Denise. And if you guys can just please join us in that moment of silence, that would be amazing. Thank you, everybody. Awesome. Well, let's get this party started. Episode 1, what really happened to Amway BWW Jamaica? I definitely want to give the floor off to Akambi. You know, Akambi, you interviewed me a year ago, and I'm so excited to hear your part of the story. So why don't you go ahead and give us kind of like your scope of things of where were you just a few months before you saw the business? Where were you before you saw it? What were you attracted to? And how did you and Paul meet? And then we'll go ahead and have Paul talk about his side as well.
So basically when I just started, when I was introduced to the business, I was just graduating from college. And after graduating from college, one thing was very evident for me after graduating from college is that I needed to figure out how to make more money. Because at the time, partying, doing all the things that I love to do, trust me, I wasn't making more money to like start an empire or buy a house or do anything grandiose. I was just trying to figure out how I'm gonna get entertained. Because the money I was making at that time was so little, and even though I was still living with my parents, money seemed to be very thin for me. So, I was always interested. I was looking, right? That's what they always say about people who join the business. You don't have to. The right person will show themselves because there are always people looking. So I was one of those people. So I was actually going. No, I was actually in Miami at the time for what was it? What's the weekend on in May?
Partying.
It's like a party
What's the
weekend
weekend
in
in
May.
May?
Memorial Day.
Memorial weekend, yeah. I was in Miami partying for Memorial weekend with my best friend who actually just got married, and we were there in the hotel, and I got a call. No, I didn't get a call. I got an email. No, I didn't get an email. I got a Facebook message. Yes, I got
Oh,
a
you brought it
Facebook
back.
message. Facebook message from someone who I did not know at all. It's this gentleman on the call, on the live stream. He did not have a beard. His face was very clean shaven, with this weird kind of hairstyle, trying to look like Clark Kent. Um, so I was like, okay. And then this guy messaged me about an essay worth of information, um, on the Facebook message. It was like an essay, no joke. It was very long, and I did not read any of it. I scrolled all the way to the bottom because
That's
I was
smart.
like, who is this guy and why is he messaging me? Because I thought it was a bot. This was before bot eras. This was before any of these things we have existing today. I'm talking about this was what 2010. Yeah. And I was just like, let me try and call the number since I'm in the States and see if this guy is actually real. I didn't read anything he said. I just tried to call the number to figure out why is this guy messaging me. And I called him and he was so excited. He was like, oh my God, I can't believe you actually called me. Da, 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 da. And then he tries to proceed to tell me all the stuff in the message that I skipped over. And I was just like, bro, ain't the time. I am in Miami right now, partying. I'm probably drunk and intoxicated. This is not the time for us to talk. However, we can talk when I get back home to Jamaica. And he was like, all right, cool. And that's how I got introduced to the business, really and truly. I
So
didn't
Paul,
see I didn't see the business plan until Paul was about to leave Jamaica. This was already after I finished got registered in the business.
wow.
Yeah.
So for those of you guys that don't know, Amway there was no Amway Jamaica. There was no Amway in Jamaica at all. It wasn't until September 2010 that I remember that they officially launched. So Paul, I want to hear from your side as to what did you do? Like, where were you before in the business? Because you were already in the business for a few years, I think 3 years, right? And you already had a pretty successful business. You're already successful in it. And then Amway Jamaica opens up and you just go full force and started apparently contacting through Facebook, which I wonder who you learned that from. But anyways, go ahead, share your side on where were you?
Actually, I was doing this before you guys started in business.
Nobody was really like doing it until I started talking about it.
Well, first of all, just want to give my blessing again to Denise. Rest in peace. We love you. I feel like doing this is a great way to honor her. And then we also had another business partner, Danette, pass away today. And I just take this opportunity as a chance to just honor our experience, see what worked and didn't work, and share what a crazy thing we went through. By the way, Mark, that essay I sent you broke 3 platinums in the Q12 in Jamaica. So
It worked. Barely.
all you want, but the reason we're here is because it worked.
Okay.
So yeah, I got started in business when I was 18 years old, a college student. Coming from a place of weakness, I just wanted love and acceptance because I didn't love myself, and obviously the community filled that void, and then because of that kept me stuck, because my whole self-image, my confidence, my community, everything that I felt good about was in this environment. And so, as you'll see, throughout my story, is like I couldn't leave. This is where I found that belief in myself. A dream I've always had since when I was younger was to travel the world. And so I went in college. I went platinum while I was a junior in college. Just sponsored tons of students who didn't have much money, but we found a way to figure it out and got it done. And it's so crazy because right after I went platinum, this plateau went through my life and my business because the excitement was gone. I didn't have the self-image to retain it. And then a few months later, I hear Jamaica is launching. And I don't know what it is. I feel like I was born for this moment, that God just put me like, because if I hadn't gone platinum before that, I wouldn't have had the confidence to actually go for it. And since I'd gone platinum, I knew that I knew enough of what I was doing to go for it. And I just had this vision. I mean, 2 big visions. One, I knew if I built a team there, then I would be able to go there over and over again, and that they were business expenses. And that sounded great to me. And then 2, here's a chance for me to like really help people that really need help. And those 2 reasons motivated me so much. Something you'll see from our story is that a lot of very successful people in the business went there and they had some temporary success. Most of them didn't last. And that's because there was one ingredient missing that Mark and Renee and the other leaders that we had, is that we truly cared about each other. Like, yeah, we wanted to make money and succeed and get recognition. It was much deeper than that. It was a true family. And you'll see as Mark went through his struggles, we rallied around each other, and, we fought, we had issues, but we always stuck together. And I think that's the true reason why we had success. So anyway, Jamaica was launching in September. I found out, I think it was in February or March, that this was going to happen. And I was ready to book my plane ticket the next day. Like, let's go. I'll go down there. I'll start meeting people. I don't care. And of course, my upline said, no, you can't do that. It's against Amway rules, which is funny because I found out later that actually Worldwide set up another fake business to recruit people just so that they could have a community. So the moment Amway launched, they could shift them into that one. Interesting how they always bend these rules. So I wasn't allowed to go, and yeah, social media wasn't as big back then. So I just went on Facebook and I just started messaging anybody. And I started with college students because it was an easy network to find on Facebook. I remember University of Technology Jamaica, started there. just messaging. And I agree, it was a really not very good message. I'm sure most people didn't read it, but they saw something about business, money, and some of them reached out. And I'll never forget, I was in Chicago on the couch of one of my business partners who never really did anything, never much happened. And I'm laying sleeping on their couch for the night, I think it was. And I get a call from Akambi, just like, what is this? What's going on? I'm at a party, so I can't really, don't answer this now. We'll talk later. And then it's crazy because I went to Jamaica. I remember it's such a crazy story. So I ended up going as a college student, white kid, never been out of the country by myself before, never been to the Caribbean before. Everybody told me don't go. Even my business coaches were like, Paul, it's kind of dangerous. I wouldn't go. Definitely don't go to Kingston. That's like they take white boys there. You're not going to be safe. And it's funny because every Jamaican I talked to said, it's fine, man, totally good. You'll be safe. I didn't know, my parents didn't want me to go. And I was nervous. And so what I did is I got a hotel where they hosted all the meetings, and I basically never left the hotel. I figured if I stayed at the hotel, I'd be safe. So I flew down there. Now imagine this. I showed up with 2 giant oversized bags, and it was only originally supposed to be there for, I think it was 4 or 5 days. It was the original plan. And I show up with 2 giant bags, and they're obviously a little bit confused. So they open my bags and they're curious because there's hundreds of books in this bag, because I brought every book and CD, products, all because I knew I wanted to just give it away. Because I realize now that I never built my business as much to make money, because I never cared about that. I cared about the people and the opportunity to make an impact. So I really ran a charity, and I was okay with that. And so my whole goal is just sow the seeds, give all the books away, give all the products away, give all the audios away. And so I sat there and I showed the business plan hundreds of times over and over again. And it was different because with college students in America, I had to convince them that it's important to make extra income, of what the idea of making extra income is good. I had to spend 30 minutes on that before I could show them the business. When I went to Jamaica, at the moment I started, they're like, okay, I get it. How does it work? How much does it cost? Nobody there needed to be convinced the importance of having extra income. It was a totally different lifestyle, totally different mindset. And of course, they're just wondering, every question was, okay, I don't have a credit card. How am I going to pay for this? How are you going to get the products here? Because I never run an import-export business. I didn't know these answers. And every time they asked me these questions, all I said is, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. I don't know. And I'll never forget September 1st, I show up and I'm on the phone for hours because we couldn't do online registration. So I'm on the phone for hours registering one person after, oh, now he sponsored this guy, next person, just registering all these people. And I remember I ended up staying there for 2 weeks. I missed my first week of school. I didn't care. There was supposed to be this big, strong guy. Andy was supposed to go with me, football player kind of guy. And he lost his passport. So he wasn't able to go until later. So I show up my first day. I'm showing the business plan over and over. Somebody steals my cell phone in the middle of a meeting. So my family's freaking out. And I didn't realize at the time, don't leave your phone sitting on the other side of the room in Jamaica. I didn't know this. And the Akambi didn't tell me this yet. And I'll never forget, one time we couldn't rent that small room. So we had to rent the penthouse room of this hotel, which is expensive. And only like 2 people showed up. And one of them was Akambi.
There you go, walk in.
I know, we're like, have this giant ballroom and there's 2 people to see the business plan. And I mean, look what it created, and obviously he wasn't sure about it right away. And there's a whole bunch of stuff that I'm skipping in between that led up to this.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how things started.
Amazing. So Akambi, walk me through that journey. So he called you, he explained to you. Let's talk about when he called you and actually explained to you and what got you to the hotel. Because knowing you don't just show up to any hotel. So I want to walk me through that journey.
Paul conned me. Paul said that Paul said that I'm here. I spent all this money because, all right, Paul's missing on some stuff. All right.
I just realized that.
Yeah, Paul missing on some stuff. So before the actual launch of the business, in Jamaica, which was September 1st, 2010. Paul wanted me to come to a conference in the US. All right. No, I was like, okay, cool, whatever. But then I was like, I didn't know this guy. So, right. So I was like, let me test him. Let me see how dedicated he is to the cause. You know,
Gotta test.
guys, I swear, I'm a good person. I swear. Um, so I was like, okay. He was like, don't worry, you don't have to worry about anything. I'll pay for your ticket to come up, and I'll pay for your ticket to go to the conference. You won't have to
That
worry about
Paul
the
Nelson money.
hotel accommodations, anything. So I was like, all right, I don't really know you, bro. So I need you to do that for my best friend as well. And he did it. He did it. He paid for both of our tickets. Um, and on the day of the flight, I did not make the flight. I did not go to the flight.
What?
Um, yeah, yeah, yeah. My best friend convinced me that this is some Texas Chainsaw Massacre shit. Um, that I shouldn't trust Paul. Da, da, da. I was like, man, this guy, he paid for the ticket and everything, and he was like, yeah, so what, man? They have all this money, so they won't feel it. They'll be okay. So I was like, all right, cool. Didn't show up. And I called I spoke to Paul afterwards.
Oh my God.
He didn't phase. He wasn't phased on the phone at all. He was just like, it's okay, I understand. And I was like, man, this dude's really like, like he's really okay with this. But anyway, um, basically what happened was I felt guilty. All right. So when Paul actually came to Jamaica though, like in the flesh, I was like, man, he's here now. Like I can't avoid him. And I already bailed on him when he bought me the ticket. So, he had leverage. He had leverage on me, and he did not hide the fact that he had leverage on me. He was like, "Come on, Mark, I bought you the ticket. Now I'm here. I'm gonna get you signed up." Da, 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 da. And I was actually listening to what he had to say at the time because of a very close friend of mine who also ended up passing away in
Here.
2014, 2015.
Mm.
Shakir was my upline. Shakir was above me. He was the one who was sponsored before I was in the Jamaica market. And Shakir and I, we grew up together. We literally lived like 2 blocks away from each other. We grew up in the same neighborhood in Jamaica. So when Shakir told me that he was talking to Paul, I was like, whoa, like, and then he's like, yeah, he's cool, man. You should trust him. And I was like, okay, all right. I'll listen to what he has to say. And then Shakira was like, yeah, I'm going to the hotel to meet Paul and we're getting signed up. And I was like, all right. If Shakira is doing it, then let me go follow him and whatever. So a lot of it is, I'm not going to say coincidental because everything happens as it should and everything, God directs everything the way it should. So a lot of it was very serendipitous, kind of divine in terms of how everything panned out. This was not a straight cut and dry show the plan. Okay, yeah, I'm fired up and I'm gonna get started. This was not that case at all. All right.
Mm.
And even after I got started, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't take it serious. Really and truly, when I started to take it serious was when I came from my first conference,
Mm.
which was a month after I got signed up on the first. And that's when I met our guardian angel, Elliot Kane.
Mm.
Elliot to me is the person who infused the heart into the Jamaica team. Um, he showed me what it means to serve. He showed me what it means to be loyal, in his actions, in his ways, in how he talked about everybody who helped him, and how he talked about what's in store for me and my future. I just believed it 100%. He had that very, very special effect on people with his words. Um, So yeah, after that, that's when I really started to take it serious. And I rolled up my sleeves after that conference and I went into crazy Mark Amos work ethic mode.
Which is crazy if y'all know Mark.
All right, let's back up for a second.
Okay, go for it.
Two things. Let me explain what it was from my point of view.
Mhm.
There was this big push, like Jamaica was opening.
Right.
Everybody wanted to make it happen,
Right.
you know, but there was a difference. Most people didn't believe that they were going to do it. And I just knew for a fact that I was going to build a massive team in Jamaica. And a lot of people just found onesie, twosies, or whatever. And I just believed it. Like I knew I was meant to do it. And so I did things with a certain force, a certain energy of this is happening. It's just a question of who. And, you know, the summer conference, you know, so a few months before Jamaica launched, I wanted to get somebody there. Right. And so I was willing to do whatever. Looking back, you know, obviously it was not the smartest financial decision and I didn't have to do that. But I was just so committed to whatever I had to do, you know, to make that happen. And that's why I was, yeah, boom. And this is fine from Jamaica to Texas, Dallas. I booked him his flight, was paying for his ticket. And then he's like, oh yeah, you know, I'm uncomfortable going. I need my friend. So I buy his friend the ticket too. And then I'm in Wisconsin, pretty much as far away from Dallas as you're going to be in the US. And I'm driving in a car, a full car with a bunch of my team members who are all going to the Dallas conference. And I'll never forget, I'm sitting in the back seat, I think I was in the middle, and Mark calls me. He's like, yeah, I'm not coming. And I just like, I don't know what it was. I mean, I felt down for a moment. I was just like, it is, you know, it is what it is. And I just let it go. And everyone around me was so impressed because they all heard it. They all heard the whole conversation. Like, damn, this man, I'm leaving you. And they were all very impressed as well because I just handled it in stride because I mean, it is what it is. I had no control of it. And I'll never forget somebody else had a Jamaican at the conference and I was so pissed. Did whatever I could and it didn't happen. And then the other part is Shakir. I thought Shakir was my guy. Like before I went down there, he was the person showing business plans in Jamaica, bringing people. And wasn't it, I think it funny how this all works, right? Greg went down and was in Jamaica for one day and did like a meeting, and you and Shakir both showed up at the meeting, and that's how you realized that you were both talking about this thing. Remember that? Isn't that crazy?
I remember that.
I remember it wasn't until after that they were like, okay, this is making sense. And that's when I thought you were going to go to the conference, but you didn't. So anyway, I had to share that. Now Akambi can continue.
Yeah, so Akambi, walk me through that Mark Akambi work ethic. So let's talk about how you guys actually grew the business and the struggles that you guys had to go through. Because a lot of the people that are watching, a lot of people that are going to watch this built a USA Amway business, which is very easy. Order some products online, they ship it to your house, you get your PV right away, get your profit, whatever. So walk us through what it was to build the Amway business in Jamaica and what you did and what you accomplished and the people that you helped and how the USD money in Jamaica made such a huge difference. Like walk us through that journey.
You run two businesses. This is what he's going to explain.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Yeah, so all right, you know, like how in the US, the biggest problem for people who build a business here is getting people on board and getting people to stay on board and actually be interested in the business. Because there are so many network marketing companies here, most people are basically over them. Especially, you know, if they find out it's Amway, they're like, what? Amway is still in business? My grandfather used to do that, you know what I mean? It would just be very hard over here. It was the complete opposite in Jamaica. Because the Jamaicans, you know, as a third world country, most Jamaicans earn anywhere between 500 to 1,000 USD per month annually. Yeah, per month. No. That's not even how much they earn. It's probably like around, yeah, 1,000 per month is on the high end for certain Jamaicans in Jamaica per month. It's more like 500 is the average in Jamaica. So for Jamaicans to get an opportunity to earn USD is huge. Even regardless of what it takes to be able to earn that, once they're given a shot to be able to actually work their way into that type of income, they'll listen. As long as everything makes sense in terms of how they'll be able to get it, they'll listen, and they'll not only listen, they'll do it. All right. So I recognize that very early on because, you know, Paul will tell you, I'm a numbers guy. All right. I'm good at the inspiration. I can talk. However, I back it up with numbers. All right. And that's something Paul and I had to have a lot of conversations about initially. Like, how are we doing this? And it would annoy the hell out of me whenever Paul would say, I don't know, we'll figure it out. All right. So I was like, all right, cool. And then I'd go upline from Paul and I was like, how are we doing this? Well, you know, a lot of things haven't been figured out yet. So, you know, don't worry. Eventually, what I know about this company, it's a $9 billion company. And anywhere they've opened, they've never closed. I'm like, okay. All right. But then, you know, going on for a couple of months, what we were doing, instead of kind of really focusing on the products, we were showing the plan a lot because that's what people said we should do. And then when people came on board with the business, we'd be like, we're figuring it out in terms of how we're getting the products, how we're getting. So we would have people. I remember we the first 3 months we registered anywhere between 50 to 100 people. Probably the first. What's that?
It was per month.
Yeah, probably the first 2, 3, 4, the first 2, 3, 4 months we were registering a ton of people. All right. So when at that time we had to do the phone registrations, and then Amway would say that they'd sent their intro packet to Jamaica. But whenever we are like, so where are these intro packets? Where are these packets? At least we can get these packets so that we can sell some product and make some money, right? Because the whole thing in Jamaica was just figuring out the best way to sell the product. We didn't necessarily want to focus too much on the sponsorship because we hadn't figured out how people would get their payments into the island yet, because there's no PayPal, there's no Bank of America, there's no direct deposit. All right, we could only get checks, and if we do check by mail, it would take almost a month to 2 months to get our checks. Yeah, so we hadn't figured out how to be able to instantly get our income yet, so that we could actually use that money and reinvest in buying products. And we didn't even know how to get products back then. So I had the great idea to go to this place that ships the products in via airmail, right? Air package or airmail. I did not know with air packaging, they charge you not based on the cost of the item, they charge you based on the weight of the item. All right. And when we first did our initial ordering, I'll never forget this. You know, we ordered a bunch of stuff because we wanted to do 100 points. That's what all our uplines was promoting at that time. Do 100 points, do 100 points, do 100 points. So we're like, all right, cool. We can do 100 points of excess, and then we can sell by the excess, right? Because, you know, excess is marketable in Jamaica because Jamaica is a party country. Like, all we do is party. So we were like, all right, this is the most marketable thing. At that time, I had just registered someone very new who was like a rock star in the business in Renee. Before Renee came, it was me and Tariq and Shakir, right? But Shakir, the first meeting we ever had, I said, Shakir, you show the plan. I mean, I gave it to him because he was more interested than I am. But Shakir did such a horrible job. God rest in peace, my brother. But he wasn't really there where the plan is concerned. And I could see that he was losing the people. So I was like, all right, you know what? Let me start doing the plan because this doesn't look like it's Shakir's strong suit right now. And when I did the plan, we got signups. Like we got signups like right away. So I was like, all right, cool. Let me continue doing the plan and we'll figure out this shipping thing. We brought in our first shipment by air. We bought excess. We bought 100 PV worth of excess, like me and about 5 others. And to clear the excess cost twice as much than the price that we paid for the excess. Mind you, we are not rich. I am a recent college graduate. Most of my team is still in college. This is IBO price times 2.
Just understand. So they paid about $300 for the products. When it shows up for customs, to get the package, now they have to pay an extra $600 just to get the package.
Just to get it.
Plus it takes a few weeks from when they order it.
Yes, plus that, just to get it in our hands, right? And when I went, I was just floored. I was like, how am I going to handle this? You know what I mean? And I paid for it. I was like, you know what? I remembered the time when Paul used to pay for all this stuff, and all of the stuff he did for me, and even the times I didn't show up, I was like, you know what? Let me just pay for this. I believe in what we have here. I believe that the team is gonna grow. And to this day, Renee said that one act made her completely sold out and loyal to me and the business team. Wow. Because I paid for her products to get cleared. Because she was upset. She was furious. She was like, I'm not going to do this. This makes no sense. It makes no sense for me to pay so much money just to clear my products. I won't make any profit. This is a stupid business. She was furious. And, I just was like, all right, I get it. I agree. Let me take care of it. I'm going to figure out a better way. And that's when I started to really look into shipping stuff through sea instead of through air. And that's a whole other journey right there. That's a 4-year journey. But basically, just to give you some more context, eventually in me searching for the sea freight, I actually found the company that had all of our Amway starter packages. I literally found this company. I was driving one day, heading to some job or something I was doing, I remember. And I saw this company in downtown Kingston. I was like, wait, that's the same company that Amway said they're shipping the stuff to. I go inside this place, raggedy ass building, this place looks like nobody is there. I kid you not. This place looks like no one is there. I go and I bang on the door, no answer. I try going in. I had to pry my way into the door. And then somebody finally come. This old lady came up. Oh, hey, how are you? Yes, we do shipping. Da, 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 da. And I'm like, okay. Well, I'm doing this thing with this business company. I'm building my business with this company called Amway. You're with Amway? You are in Amway? I'm like, yeah. And she's like, oh my God, we've been trying to get in contact with people from there. We don't know how to find you guys. And I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, come with me. We go in the back. It's a room with hundreds of Amway starter packs.
Oh my God.
I found this place in November. So most of the products, Michelle, were expired. But check this out. I got the boxes because all I drive in Jamaica are pickup trucks. If you ever been to Jamaica, you'll know it don't make no sense driving a car because the roads are horrible. All right, so all I drive in Jamaica are pickup trucks. So I go, I get all the products. This lady didn't even need me to carry my team or anybody there. She was just like, tell me the name of the people. Tell me the name of the people on your team. Just take the boxes. We need to get them out of here. I was like, all right. So I started going through, looking at the boxes and names and started just throwing them in the trunk, right?
Oh my gosh.
Go to the meeting, because by then our meeting had expanded and grown so much. And I can get into how we got to that point.
Yeah.
And I give people everybody was so happy, Michelle, for their expired products.
Oh,
You should have seen the look on their faces. They were so happy for their expired products. But that's just one story of how difficult it was for us to get our products in Jamaica.
I have no idea how
a
many
journey.
times people would sign up and they would quit before their startup pack would get there because
oh
it would
my
take too long.
God. Oh my goodness.
Jamaicans are not the most patient people, and unfortunately, this takes a while. So let me share a few things. I didn't know that story.
Yeah, why don't you share your side?
Well, first of all, like you said, I really think none of this would have happened without Elliot. I never would have gotten started without him. I went platinum because of him, because of the heart that he poured into me and to my people. And I just did the same thing in Jamaica. And I really feel like you and Renee, like without Elliot, it wouldn't have happened. And although, he ended up, fading away from that, he planted the seeds, and that was all that was needed. I think a lot of people don't understand how difficult it was. And I would always explain this to people, like you order a product, it shows up at your door. Use a credit card to pay for it. You don't even need to give money. It's obviously it's not real. It's just a credit. And in Jamaica, it was so much harder. People don't have credit cards, and yet they need to pay for something that won't arrive for weeks. And it's back then it was 80 of their dollars to $1 US. Now it's a lot more. I don't know what it is now.
It's like 140.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so making US dollars was a big thing for them, but paying for it was very hard. Like even the older, wealthier people could afford stuff like that, but young people didn't have that opportunity. Even something I remember a lot of people like they would have to take the laundry detergent. People didn't buy laundry detergent for a month. They would buy it for a week, and so he'd have to divide it and put like a few scoops into a bag and go sell it door to door because people didn't have money to pay for a month's worth of stuff. The products were good.
Remember what we used to have to do is it was me, Renee, and when Denise got on board, we used to have to use our cards, right? We used to have to collect money from our business team, right? We used to have to do accounting. It was like doing three businesses. We had to do accounting. We had to do shipping. Shipping was huge. We had to do a lot of stuff around shipping. We can go into the specifics of that when we finally figured out shipping. We had to keep track of all these things. It was like, when they describe how people used to build a business back in the day before the internet, all right? Yeah, that's basically how we had to build it. Yeah. But then with the challenges of economics, right? Because, our dollar was just weaker. And how we were able to make profit is we used to get the twist tubes. We used to sell them by threes, So instead of selling them as a pack, we would sell them individually because we make more profit on the individual tubes as opposed to selling them by the pack. Just like with the excess, with everything, we used to have to sell them individually to earn a better profit and to save for more product, so we could have more product until the products from the shipment came back from the whole from the whole long drawn out process it takes for it to travel across the sea. You see, Philip is on the live, Paul. He's like his credit card almost never recovered. Philip was an integral part of me going platinum.
And you know how he met him? Is because he sold his, what was it, your Xbox?
Yeah,
to
I
him,
sold my
and then
Xbox.
he showed him the plan.
Yeah. Yeah, like I was like, guys, I was sold out to the business. Like sold out. I sold about 3 consoles while I was in the business. I did anything necessary to make sure I never missed a function, to make sure I was always integrally involved in doing whatever is necessary to be successful in this business. I was sold out in this business. Trust me. So yeah.
Basically, what they had to do, and this is why a lot of people didn't succeed in Jamaica, is somebody had to take charge of the products. So they needed to. So I just was blessed and lucky, that I found somebody who was willing to own that from day one and say, I will figure that out. Most people didn't have that because if you can't get the products, then it's not happening. And it was a struggle because we're paying, in a poor country, they're paying now after the product arrives, they're paying an extra 30 to 40% of the price on top just to get the products. And yeah, it was old school Amway, products show up at your door.
And the messed up thing was, Michelle, was that, you had BWW right there as one educational system, right?
Right.
Where they're like, yo, we are not helping you with warehousing. We will not help with warehousing. All right. And then you had Worldwide Dream Builders on the next side who had a state-of-the-art warehousing system already in place in Jamaica.
Did BWW ever say why they didn't want to help you guys?
I mean, I'm not gonna call any names, but the uplines usually just said, they've never done warehousing when they go in a new market and they're not gonna start now.
Did that affect, do you think that affected you guys a lot?
It was harder the first few years, but they eventually built their own warehouse.
Listen, though, that affected us in a major way, and here's why. It didn't really. It affected Elliot in a major way.
And can you share who Elliot is?
Well, let him finish what he's saying.
Go ahead.
Because Elliot cared about the team so much and loved us so much and wanted to see us succeed so much, he took it upon himself to try and get a warehouse started in Jamaica. With another teammate who wasn't in my team, was a cross line of mine. But he had somewhat of the resources to facilitate that happening. And that whole process really affected Elliot a lot. Because Elliot is a lot like me and Paul, where he will just stop at nothing to make sure that whatever he is that he wants to happen will happen. And in the process, I believe that kind of took him down a pretty dark path. He was very in love with Jamaica to the point where he wanted to move to Jamaica and leave his life behind in the States. And it was a hard process for him to navigate all of that. That was the closest we ever came to having a fully functional warehouse. Because he actually went on and tried his best to get the capital towards making that happen. And it didn't work out. We had a name for it and everything. What was it called? Philip will remember. Philip, what's the name of the what do we used to call a warehouse?
I remember where it was.
Oh yeah, I remember where it was too.
So Elliot was the person who brought me into business. He was a platinum when I got started, and he was just a bright, shining light who always I think he was just born for his time. Just such a giving, loving, high vibe spirit who loved life. And just, he had some mental issues that took him down. Shine bright, die young. He impacted so many people and loved so many people so hard. And I think he just lived the life he was meant to live. And unfortunately, he took his own life a few years ago. I don't know many people who can live such a short life and impact so many. So
leading up to the warehousing, we used to only do meetings at UTech because that's all I could afford. A lot of people don't notice, up to this day. But every single meeting that was held up by the meeting rooms up by UTech, I paid for out of pocket. I paid for a lot of things out of pocket. I paid for that every single week. And it was getting to be a bit too much because I didn't charge my team for the meeting. I just took that on. I just took that on. I didn't know my team was supposed to help with that. I just figured I was just supposed to do that. And that was going on for probably like 2 or 3 months until one day at one of the first Jamaica functions, me and my team was me, Renee. I don't know if Denise had gotten on board yet. Probably
Which one
had.
was this? Which speaker? I'll tell you.
It's probably like the first one where Paulson and a bunch of them were
I don't know.
first conference. And anyway, we just roll up in there like, we were the BWW system basically. Like we roll up in there with a bunch of people and they're like, yo, who these guys? You get me? Like they have such a big team and we don't even know about them. So Paulson was the one who was like, yo, like, we have a team, a BWW Jamaica team meeting at, I think it was Altamont Court. I was like, no, I didn't know. And then
Why didn't you guys know? Didn't your upline give you guys this information? Now that they saw you guys growing and prospering, why didn't they give you guys this information?
like nobody was plugged into what was going on in Jamaica.
Why not? Growing so fast.
I don't know. I think, all right, I know
their own thing too.
Yeah, I know why. Most of Jamaica's like events were just kind of passed off to the legacy diamonds who everybody knew were from the Caribbean, right? So like Wayne Calendar, Paulson, all that Caribbean team, they were just kind of like the go-to persons to handle stuff in Jamaica because they already had a big team in Trinidad. So I guess BWW just figured that they were the persons who were supposed to just handle things in Jamaica. However, they struggled with building a team in Jamaica, right? And
US too. I mean, it's true.
Anyway, we're keeping it PG tonight, Michelle.
AuthentiK TV.
So when we went to the event, it was probably like a BBS or something. I had like probably 50, 60 people. The max people we've ever had to an event was like 300 and something. Like in our prime, we were churning out the numbers. The Hardys, yes, Philip, the Hardys. The
warehouse name.
Terrell and
Margaret Hardy.
Yeah. They were basically the ones who were kind of in control of stuff, right? So Paulson saw me at the meeting. He was like, "Yo, you're the one who has." I was like, yeah. And he's like, "Which team? Which team?" I was like, "Oh, I'm sponsored by Paul." He's like, "Who's your diamond?" And at that time, who was our diamond? It must have been Rashmi.
Maybe.
It must have been Rashmi, yeah. And I told him, it was like just Prakash, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, "Who's your double diamond?" And whatever they were. And I told him all the way up to whoever, you get me? Shinoy, Gala, whatever. And he was just like, "Yo, you should come to our meetings. You do well at our meetings." And I'm like, "All right." And then I went to the first meeting. When I went to the first meeting, I did not bring my team. So I'm like a war general when I have teams or people.
His name was the general.
God.
Yeah, I did not bring my team because I didn't want my team. We had this thing like we didn't want our team to get the wrong mindset from other teams, right? So I wanted to go first to see what they were saying at the meeting and how good their plan is before I carried my team there.
That is such a BWW upline behavior.
Yeah. So I went there. I was like, man, this is a sorry ass meeting.
Hey, we're supposed to keep
So I was like, oh man, this is oh. And then I was there with Renee. So I was like, I whispered to Renee ear. I was like, Renee, 2 months tops. This is our meeting.
Oh my God. That's always the attitude I had too, and I always got in trouble.
Yep. And then we went with our guys, and I was like, listen, we got to get on the rotation. You know, you know, and then,
Oh my
and
God,
then-
were you in them?
no, this was a lot of this stuff happened while Paul wasn't there. You know, and then we would just call Paul and just like give him updates. We would just be like, oh yeah, we have
There a
these.
couple months though.
Of course.
Yeah, like
I went there 15 times. Yeah.
yeah, he came a lot. He came a lot, but then every time Paul came, we would just be like meeting a bunch of new people, and Paul would always come with like a ton of books, a ton of CDs.
Get to
And
that.
he would just be like the Santa, you know, you just come and he would be everybody.
I'll never forget. I mean, this is down the line a little bit, but I showed up, and after a meeting, we go to my car, or I don't know whose car it was, whoever was carrying me. And in the back, I mean, every time I go, I show up with thousands of dollars in books and CDs. The first time I went, when I left Akambi, I gave him the books, and I left all the books and audios and products I had left. I drew out how to show the plan, and I just gave it to him. And so every time I show up, my bag has a little bit of clothes and just tons of that stuff. And I'll never forget, I show up and I just got tons of books, $1,000 worth of books at least, and audios. And I take them out, and I felt like I was in Africa handing out food to starving kids. Like I'm handing out, everyone's like this, reaching over each other, books. And then everyone wants me to sign the books and write a note. So I'm handing out hundreds of books. I mean, it felt so cool to empower people like that. It was an amazing experience.
So you guys didn't your team wasn't subscribed to like the standing order and the book of the month, stuff like that?
People never bought into that stuff. They just wanted to make money.
Yeah.
They knew how to build an Amway business.
What we used to do, and Elliot used to do this for us. Elliot used to just bootleg the stuff. We used to burn the stuff on CDs and just bring it to us.
Oh my God.
That's why I love Elliot, right? Elliot didn't care about any of that shit. Elliot just wanted us to grow, right? Just like Paul. Paul did it too. Paul used to burn all the stuff. I remember Nate, one of our uplines, he gave me like 200 gigabytes worth of audio that was shared to everybody on my team. We didn't need to be on standing order. We didn't need, we had so much, we had so much audio. Really and truly, we didn't need any more audio. The only thing we needed was probably books. And really and truly, for the people in Jamaica, we already had that hustlers mentality. Like we didn't need any form of reinforcement where that hustlers mentality was concerned. And you know, I used to always get pushback from one of my leaders on this. Like whenever I used to try, because you know, every single month we have to do we did game plans. And every time I did game plans with either Paul or Elliot or sometimes Craig, they'll be like, yo, you know, one of the biggest things that causes teams to grow, mentality. And, you know, we got to infuse the books and the CDs and And I'm like, all right, me at that time, anything those guys said was law.
Right.
That's how dialed in I was. I didn't ask any questions. You can't ask Paul. I didn't ask any questions. You get me? Like I was dialed in. So when they said those things, I would go back to the team and I'll be like, yo, we need to figure this out. Some of the leaders would be like, are you crazy? Do you see how much shit we have to go to just to figure out products? Like, you talking about books, CDs that cost just as much as the products? And we barely making profit? No. And I just be like, yeah, I understand. However, you know, this is what Upline says. And it was a constant, it was a
Oh my God.
constant, it was a constant like back and forth with Upline because of that. And it was looking back now, honestly, if I just worked with Paul and Elliot, I'd have been fine. Like like everybody else, like
Well, they didn't really care about you guys. They were
I'm not,
mostly
I'm not
focused
gonna
on the BWW side.
I'm not gonna go as far and say they didn't care about us. They just didn't get us. You get
Mm,
me? They didn't know what it was like.
right.
Eventually, I feel like Craig started to understand more when he started to actually have a team down there.
Mm-hmm.
Because one of the biggest helps, one of the biggest influences and help for us to finally break and go over that wall was a cross line, was Yannick Simpson, which is one of Craig's main guys in Jamaica. And I definitely gave shout out Yannick because Yannick helped us a lot. Before Yannick really kind of helped us figure out how to get products into Kingston, I used to have to drive to Mobay at least once every month.
3 hours each way.
Oh my
Three,
God.
3 to 4 hours more like 4, right? 4 hours driving to Mobay in Jamaica at that time would be equivalent to like driving, what's a rough terrain? Like you go in Mexico and you see how the roads are very winding and
There was
rough.
no highway.
Yeah,
Oh my
there's no
God.
highway in
Windy
Jamaica.
roads,
No
no
highway in
no
Jamaica.
edge. You can fly off the edge. It's
No,
one
yeah.
road.
Like
Oh,
very dangerous roads. Like every time Paul comes, he's like holding on to his seatbelt for their life. Because I know the roads like the back of my hand because as a surveyor, I drive around Jamaica all the time.
right.
So I used to have to go to Mobay at least once, sometimes even twice a
Mm,
month, get the products. I used to have to pack the products myself,
oh my
right?
goodness.
Into the back of my pickup truck and drive back. I remember one time I was driving back with probably like $5,000-$10,000 worth of product.
Wow.
And I was on a back road and something happened to stop the traffic for like
Mm.
2-3 hours. And I was stuck in one place for the whole time. And at that time, my pickup truck could not close. The lid could not close because of how many boxes were in the back of my pickup truck. And if you know Jamaica, doesn't have any lights on the roads. Most of the roads are unlit. And I had to literally go to the back of the pickup truck and watch to make sure no one came out and stole the products, and kept watch for 2 hours before we started moving again.
Oh my goodness.
That's
So
that's
with, yeah, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
No, I was gonna ask you, because with all this turmoil and all this stuff that you guys had to deal with, can you share with me the success? Because I know you guys had a lot of success. You guys broke a lot of pins, you guys made a lot of money. So let's talk about, after all the turmoil, all you figuring out the shipping and everything, let's talk about, once you guys figured it out, the success and the team that you grew.
That took us almost 5 years to start
Yeah.
having success.
Yeah.
Yeah, and shortly after that, that's when things kind of really started to kind of dwindle down.
Yeah.
It lasted for a couple of years.
Talk about that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it continued, between Mark and Renee and Denise, I don't remember where you guys were stuck at like 4,000 PV for like 3 years or something.
Well, remember what happened in 2012?
Oh yeah, your car accident.
Yeah. So right before the car accident, we had some serious momentum. We had just finished breaking 1,500. And then I think I had gone 4,000 and Renee had gone 4,000 right before the car accident. If I'm not mistaken. If it wasn't 4,000 2,500, but we were almost there. And you know, at the time I was working with a company, and I used to like going to my bay for the company, because when I can go to my bay, I might have the opportunity to get some products while I'm in my bay, right? So it's like
Right.
get paid to go there and kill two birds with one stone. And I would
Mhm.
always I remember that night I had left the meeting directly. I don't remember who presented, if it was me or Renee, but I had left that meeting directly to go to my bay in the night. And everybody was like, yo, why are you leaving tonight? Why are you going tonight? Why are you going? And I was like, because I want to wake up early in the morning, finish the work, and have the whole day to be able to do whatever I may need to do in terms of like, whatever.
Mm.
So I left that night and got into a huge accident. Got into a massive accident. 5 people died in the accident. And yeah, that was a really,
You were lucky to survive. Didn't your car like explode or something right after you got out of
yeah,
it?
yeah. Like the car was like, this is no joke. Like something out of the movies. Like as soon as I unbuckled my seatbelt, the car was inflamed. And that took the wind out of our momentum sales drastically. Everybody thought, some people in the team thought I was dead. And that took a major toll on me mentally as well. For a while, a lot of things changed for me after that. I couldn't travel after that. I couldn't drive for a while after that. And if you really look at everything that we've been explaining, I was kind of the main driving force behind a lot of the things happening in Jamaica. The team was very dependent on me. So that slowed our momentum down a lot, a whole lot. And
Team rallied around you though. They fought hard to keep things going.
oh yeah, they definitely did. Renee did an amazing job.
Eric
Um,
too.
yeah, and Denise, they really held it down. Those, those were my guardian angels. Them two, and Tarek was Tarek was my right hand guy. And Philip was there as well, and Ajani. Them peoples, them was my peoples. Like Philip, Ajani, Tarek, Renee, Denise, the Fab Five. Those were my peoples. And we were just stagnant for a really long time after that.
Wow.
And then in 2015, was it 2015, Paul?
I think you guys went 7,500 before that, but I think it's in 2015 is when you all went platinum.
Yeah, but
And that's
remember,
when
before that, Yannick went platinum before us. That's what lit a fire under my ass. Yannick, Yannick went to Yannick went to platinum, I think the fiscal year before that.
and he won that thing for the most sponsored people and went to Peter Island.
What?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. He was a beast.
I'll never forget that because Vivek was allowed to go also, but Craig advised him to keep building his business instead of going.
Bruh, terrible advice.
Yeah. Horrible advice. But anyway.
Oh my God. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yep. And that lit a fire under me. I was like, by the hook or by the crook. I remember this like it's yesterday. I sat down my leaders and I said, listen, by the hook or by the crook, we are going platinum next year. And everyone just looked at me. And I was like, okay. And then I arranged a meeting with Yannick and I was like, what did you do with shipping? And he told us, he was very honest. He even helped us.
Wow.
And once we figured that out, it was done. I mean, I went platinum, Renee went platinum, then
Oh,
Denise went
you're
platinum.
skipping the Sobratis and how they came into the picture.
Oh yeah, the Sobratis. Oh my God. The first, what was it? The first year they came into the business, they went platinum.
I remember I went and I met them when they first got started. The next time I come back, they're already 7,500.
Yeah, yeah. So that couple was a catalyst because they were way down in depth.
They were underneath everybody. They're middle of nowhere, pastors who run their own church in an area where some of these people don't even have jobs because they could live on the land.
Right.
Like this is how like the most suburby area, and their people were so united. They would go right from church to the meetings.
Oh my
And they
God.
would just build their business. And man, they just the way they did it was just old school. They would get $20,000 worth of products at their house at the beginning of every month, and they would move it. And they went 7,500 in like a few months and went straight Q12 2 years in a row, never missed a month.
Yep. Yep. Straight Q12.
And they made all that money.
Oh yeah, they got the 10K, the 15K check. They got the free trips.
Yeah, the Sobratis made way more money than I did. Oh yeah, they were beasts. They are beasts. Yeah,
they are.
They made so much money, and they were like generals in an army. Like they had their team on lock. And for most of us upline, we just had to figure out side volume. So
right.
That couple sparked a bunch of platinums breaking up in debt.
So then Mark, Renee, Denise, they all went platinum, and the Sobratis went Q12. Amazing. 2014, 2015, I think it was.
So when you guys were making all this noise, what were your uplines doing? Were they going out to Jamaica to like do meetings for you guys, or what was that relationship like?
Yeah. Craig was there a bunch. Carrie came a couple times. I remember Carrie came when she was pregnant, I think with her first child. And even came to one of our our expos, our product expo meetings, and helped and everything. While we had the mo, like everybody was coming out, everybody was helping.
Not everybody, yes, some people.
You want to be a bit more specific, Paul?
Yeah, you want to talk about that, Paul?
No.
Why not?
Not trying to call anybody out.
You don't have to say their names.
Yeah, you don't have to say anybody's name.
Say why you said some people weren't supportive.
I just think that
in your growth,
Greg had a second leg there, or his third leg at Vivek, so he had a reason to be there. I'm not sure that he would be there so much if they didn't have that other leg growing there. They still would have come for sure. I think definitely that was their main priority, and I get it. They wanted to secure Emerald chip.
I never ever took any of that anyway. I knew. At the end of the day, Kirk is a businessman.
Of course.
Yeah.
And I think because of that, nobody else, no other of the whatever 10 other platinums in my team or any of the platinums in their team ever really came down. None of the other uplines really ever came down to help unless they were paid to come. I think that's disappointing to me. But I get it. They're very frugal business people who make the smartest business move, not necessarily the most loving business move.
Right.
And that's just not me.
Yeah.
That's why it affected you the most.
I don't know if it affected me. I just think it's something interesting to notice.
Interesting. So let's transition now. Obviously, you guys have a lot of growth now. Platinum's breaking. Akambi is recovering from his accident. A few years later, what made you guys decide to slowly shift out? Because that's why everybody's here, right? None of us are no longer building the Amway BWW business. You guys are no longer building that Jamaica team. What caused you guys to let it go?
Well, Akambi left Jamaica.
Okay.
and became an Americano. And, you know, obviously the momentum was there for quite a while, especially as the Sobratis for Q12. And I'll never forget when we were at, you know, the one big issue that people had in Jamaica is that they were building an Amway business. They were recruiting people and selling products, but they never had a successful BWW business. I mean, we had 4 platinums in there and we probably didn't have 10 people on standing order. And nobody was on Ditto because it was like, how are we supposed to do Ditto?
Right.
And for the normal metrics that are cared about that say, yo, I got to invest in these people aren't there. Because I mean, it's true, like when those metrics aren't there, it's you know, it doesn't secure the business. And I don't disagree with that. I just think that these people knew how to do one thing, which is build an Amway business. And I think at a certain point, I'll never forget the Sobratis were sat down at Achievers to get a game plan. And they were told, like, stop doing what you're doing. We don't care how much PV you get, how much volume you get, how many products you use. If it's not on Ditto, if your BWW metrics aren't up, then it doesn't matter. And I'll never forget that the month they finished their second Q12 second time Q12, they never got close to 7,500 ever again because they were told to do something that was counter to how they built their business, counter to what made sense to them. And I applaud them because I know they gave it their best effort. And I know that when the shift into the process came and trying to do that just did not work for them. And it's just showed, and I get it from the business upline's point of view. It's like, well, if they can't do these metrics, then I'm not going to invest in you. And the reality is, as we've seen how things haven't worked out so well for BWW, having an Amway business and building it with the products is actually the right way to build it. And is the proper, legal, ethical, profitable way to do it. And so I applaud them for everything that they ever did. And it's sad to see how they were always kind of cast aside. I've heard stories about how at Achievers that I wasn't at, they wouldn't even be invited to dinners because uplines would forget that they were even there.
Because they weren't in the system, technically. Like
I think the Sobratis are just very strong, independent thinkers who are just very powerful souls who won't be controlled. And I think that whatever you want to call it, mentorship, leadership, control, they were not willing to, submit their soul to somebody else because they submitted their soul to God already.
Right.
And so they weren't willing to be controlled. And from that point of view, that BWW point of view, if I can't control you, then I'm not going to invest in you. And you're not a priority to me. And that's just how it is. And that's what ended up happening. And that's my point of view.
Yeah. And that really messed things up on our end because that's the pillar of a lot of the momentum that we created in the Jamaica business. And, this is the dark side of network marketing. During that time, I was so sold out to network marketing. I was just like, okay, told, yeah, you have to edify us. You have to edify your upline because if you don't edify your upline, how can we come into your business team and actually have any form of influence? So, I did that. Again. At that time, I did what I was told. All right. Because I just believed that, the old adage, why would these people tell me something that would hurt my business, which in turn would hurt their business? So I used to always edify to the Sobratis, to everybody else in my team. And, these set of uplines, they're it. Like, they are the shit. Like, anything they say goes. Like, if they say this, you have to listen to them. So, these Achievers trips that the Sobratis would go on, I wasn't there, Renee wasn't there. So when these uplines would get together with the Sobratis and talk to them and tell them all these things, we weren't there to kind of basically say, okay, well, actually these things aren't necessarily applicable here because they don't necessarily work in Jamaica. I think it would actually be a good idea for us to continue doing things the way we're doing it right now. We've developed a system that works. you develop a system that actually helps people in Jamaica make money, why break it if it's not broken, or
Right.
why fix it if it's not broken? And you know, a lot of the times they would come back from these retrievers and they would be singing a whole different tune, you know. And then again, because I edify these uplines so much, like so much, Denise would basically reinforce or say we agree, or you know, people in the team would agree with what uplines are saying, and they would actually try their best to, you know, get on board with what the uplines are recommending. And at the time, you know, I was doing it too. You know, I was trying to get on board with what they were saying, because I was like, all right, well, you know, they know what's best for long-term business. What do I know? They have been in business for so long. They have had so much success for so long. What do I know? Let me listen to what they have to say. And then everything just crumbled apart eventually.
I
Amazing.
wish I knew what I knew now. I would just like keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Don't listen to what anyone has to say.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to say I blame, but looking back, do you think that they are the reason why your Jamaica business fell apart?
Mm, I wouldn't say that. I decided to leave the business when I moved here because I realized I was so much in the thick of things here, and I could see a lot of the different movers and shakers here. I could see a lot of the things that were happening. I was like, okay, this doesn't make any sense. You get me? Because I could see what the end goal was of them
Mm-hmm.
promoting the system stuff, you know, making sure that things are done in a way that would actually benefit the bigger business team as opposed to benefit the persons, and in terms of what actually would work for them, you know. Because when the process just started, I was all for the process. I was like, I was one of the first adapters of the process, because I realized the four basics does not work in the US. The four basics works very well in Jamaica, because again, Jamaicans don't really care too much about the optics of the business. They just want to make sure that the business works. But in the US, it does not work at all. Uh, I had such a hard time getting people sponsored when I moved here. And I was just like, you know what? I'm willing to do whatever. And I took on the process, and I was a big subscriber of the process. Actually, myself and Sam Yao were some of the first people who were like on board with the process. A lot of people in the business team were still not on board with the process.
Yeah.
And I then started to realize that, you know, as a business, in terms of how the US builds it, which is centered around the system,
Mm-hmm.
it makes no sense. I mean, coming from me doing the products and seeing how well the products work,
Right.
and you
Wow.
know how, you know, it wasn't gimmicky at all. It was just, hey, you want this, buy it, and that's it. You get me? You present the value, you get your money, you keep it moving. And all of this gimmicky stuff over here, I was like, yo, this business is not for me. You know, this business is not for me. And I guess that kind of, I don't know, the bond I was able to form with everybody in my team in Jamaica is unspeakable. Up to today, I know all of them still feel me in them heart. So when I made that decision, I feel like that energy just kind of kind of trickled down into the team some way.
Mm,
Yeah.
I just think everything happens how it needs to.
right.
You know, we had an amazing run. We got some amazing success. I think the Sobratis realized they made a lot of money, and at that point they were willing to do what they were told to do because they already made enough money. Like, what did they have to lose? I think it just played out how it needed to. You know, I would do it differently knowing what I know now. But back then, I was the same thing, man. I was just trying to get there, thinking to be the same as my uplines thinking, and I didn't know any better.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, definitely, I think as the process tried to adapt, like I just don't think the process would ever work in Jamaica. I mean, from what Mark's saying, I just because people don't care. They're not going to wait for 18 steps. They want to know right now, what's it called? How much is it going to cost? Like they want to know. They don't care if it's network marketing. They don't want to mentor. They want to make money.
Right.
And so maybe in the US it's different, but there it was never meant to succeed there, I think. And so it was just an inevitable step. You know, and I think the last month, you know, and the tragic passing of Denise, you know, God rest her soul, that she's blessed us from, you know, from the other side to bring so many of us together. And that any of the walls that were between us or any kind of issues, it feels like have fallen to the backside, and it's been more about just honoring Denise. And it's been so great to reconnect with people and to see that these connections were real. And like, whether we have a business or not, we all care for each other and we honor what we did. And, you know, it's sad that it had to end that way, you know, and we had a great time. We didn't know what the heck we were doing. We were just one thing, help people. And now I see things differently, and I realize I don't need a business to do that.
Right.
You know, my process of leaving was very different. I was involved since I was 18 years old. It was my identity, my core. For years, I knew it was time for me to go, and I wasn't willing. And then it wasn't until that final year when I'll never forget, I spent like $1,000 to fly from wherever I was to the conference by myself. I had no people there. And then I go there, and the training just made me feel like shit. I'll never forget, like Fumer was on stage saying, don't go to Iceland, don't do this. And I just got back from the best trip of my life in Iceland. And I was just like, why am I here? This is benefiting me. And that was like a huge shift. And then I went to one last conference, and I was just, I don't know, it just felt something was off. And I was still too far into it. And it wasn't until I just realized, like, am I going to do this again? Another year of just going to functions and nothing more, investing money into something that I'm not building, that I don't want to do, just because I want to be around. I mean, that was it. I just wanted to be around the people, but I only saw them once every 3 months at a conference, and then my cross line, so I can only talk to them so much, or my downlines. And it wasn't until Akambi helped me understand like what a cult really is and what someone controlling somebody's mind really means, and how stuck I was. And it wasn't until Akambi helped me realize that I decided not to go to a conference and take some time. And then spending a few months, I was blessed to spend 3 months with Hugh Zhang, the one who had brought me into business, the one who took me out. You know, he helped me see what was really going on, and it just opened my eyes and helped me heal and realize I didn't need them to be happy. And that's what I realized, is that the idea that they're holding hostage everything, all of my self-image, you know, they're holding hostage. And then all the things I haven't healed, it's like, if you don't listen to us, all that shit's going to come up. And then holding my dreams hostage, you have to do this, delay, then you get what you want. And now a year later, I mean, everything that I would have done as a diamond, I'm doing now. And I'm tremendously more happy. I don't have to be at any meetings. I don't have to control anybody's mind. And I'm making more income than I ever have. And it's just, I always noticed whenever I took care of my health, my life was better. But then whenever I went into business, they're like, oh, don't worry about your health, just build your business. And it always confused me. I always talk about how Michelle did a training, like, I don't go to the gym. And I'm after the meeting, I'm like, what do I do? I've never felt so great. I've been going to the gym. And my team member, Mark Rankin's like, keep going to the gym.
Was promoted not to go to the gym.
Yeah, because I was waking up at 5 a.m. to go to the gym. And then after work, I would drive an hour or two to the meeting, stay in the meeting, which goes till midnight, and then drive home so I can do it all again. And I was exhausted. And I'm like, Mark, they just told me not to go work out. What do I do? And it was stuff like this that built up. But it took someone like Amos to just help me see, like, you don't need this anymore. You realize how much they're controlling you. And I think everybody who has some kind of hole, they're going to fill it with something. Some people fill it with alcohol or drugs, you know, music festivals, or, you know, whatever it is they want to fill that hole with. And some people fill it with a cult. And the key to being in a cult is you don't know you're in it.
Right.
So I know a lot of people who are in it will watch this and say, oh, these people, they're quitters, they're losers.
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. That's because they're in it. They can't see it. They're not willing. They're so loyal to their people.
Right.
They've been in it so long, their ego won't allow them to see beyond, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Truly living in a matrix, a bubble. They can't see beyond. You know, I've been doing this for 10 years. Like, I've been a platinum for 5, you know, I'm a sapphire, whatever, except the reality is you're not. Yeah, I'm a diamond, I'm an emerald. Yeah, but you're not. You went diamond, now you're not even an emerald. You went emerald, now you're not even a Q12.
Right.
So you're not that. And so it's like this, it degrades people's self-image. And it's just, I just feel sad for all the friends that I thought were my friends that are so stuck. And I pray for them and hope that one day they'll see what's really going on. Akambi?
Amazing. Akambi, I want you to share with the people what you shared with Paul to help him realize that he was in a cult, that we were in a cult, because you also helped me as well. I was so plugged into the process, so plugged in to the system, and you were helping me create Authentik, and you were helping me create my brand, and I was still stuck with that BWW mindset, that controlling mindset. So can you share how you basically mentored and guided us into realizing what we were in and how we can flourish outside?
Well, I think I was in a unique space because I could actually empathize with where you guys were.
Right.
I understood exactly where you were. It took me a while to get out of that space, and it took me being in America and going through a lot of tough times to really understand what it means to work towards things and create the results without having to make so many different sacrifices. You know, I started to reflect a lot, especially in 2019, on all the sacrifices that I have had to make for the business. And, you know, at the time I was thinking, you know, I made all these sacrifices for this business. And every time I've reached out and asked for help from specific people in the business or specific spaces in the business, I've been met with resistance when it comes on to certain areas, right? And not only that, I started to think about how much success I've actually been able to amass in 8 years. No, not even 8, 10 years, almost 10 years of giving my life to this business. And it wasn't that I couldn't, it wasn't a very what's the word I'm looking for, it wasn't substantial, the amount of success or the reward that I was able to get from from dedicating almost 10 years. So I started to look at things very differently. I started to do some research on what it means to be in a cult. Why is it that I feel so obligated to these people? And then things have started to reveal themselves to me, you know, just the way how people are recruited, you know. Oh, they're, you know, you hear it all the time when you see people go up on stage. Oh, these people do things for me that my family members would never do for me. And I was thinking, And then I started to look at all the little things that were done throughout the time I was in the business. And I was like, yeah, I used to hold those things in very high regard. However, when I'm looking back at it now, yes, the person probably did it because they cared at the time, but most likely their main motive is that they wanted me to become sold out to this cause and wanted me to be sold out to this business and the people involved in it, and to create this persona of this entire structure so that it would be very hard for me to even fathom leaving it. You know what I mean? And then I just started to think about all of those instances. I started to actually like look at the business model. I started to actually think about like what it would take for me to actually have success. Because I look at things different from a lot of people in the business currently. I'm not looking at the business as like something for me to go to and hold hands with people and be friends with people. I through and through, even though I was 9 years in, I still was looking at the business from that Jamaican hustler mentality of, can this legitimately make me money in the future? And the answer was always an unequivocal no. It was always no, this is not a good business model, right? at least doing it the BWW way, right? So I was just like, all right, I need to leave. And that's when I really started to look into other ways of making money. You know, being here in America, you see so much more different ways, so many different more ways than what you'd see in Jamaica to make money. Jamaica, it's very limited in terms of the potential to grow a business. But here, the limited, it's unlimited. There's no limit. So I started to really explore and I realized that yo, I'm here killing myself, showing plans, doing meet ones, doing meet twos, doing all these different things, like constantly following up with these people who absolutely have no interest in doing business with me. And I could easily start to look at different ways of making money and freeing up myself in terms of time. And then I just started to move towards it. I mean, Paul can tell you, I've never been one who's afraid to just step out and do certain things once I've made up my mind. So I just decided, you know, this makes no more sense to me. At first, I wasn't considering quitting or leaving the business. I was considering still just, I was thinking, okay, I'll just renew my membership and I'll just be one of those dormant members in the business. But then I started to really like see what was going on with the process. And then I found out what happened to Sam. And I was like, what? And then I was just like, enough of this. I'm not gonna be a part of this anymore. And I was just like, I'm out. You get me? And you know, that's when Paul, of course, reached out because Paul is like a best friend of mine. He's gonna want to know why I decided to do what I did. And I remember this like yesterday. At the time when I was really trying to understand what I needed to do to leave, I was in California and I went to go visit Hugh. And that's when I found out about what happened to Sam. And he told me everything. He was very raw with the information. I was like, wow. And I was like, all right, I'm done. Because I was still going to conferences, spending a bunch of money like Paul. I didn't have an American team, but all of my team was in Jamaica. And the few people I managed to amass in America, like, it was so hard just convincing them that this was right. But again, I still had a lot of those skill sets that I developed in terms of convincing people that this is something that they should do. But I always felt in my heart that it wasn't right. It wasn't the right thing. So yeah, I saw Paul struggling. So I was like, bro, come here. Let's talk. Like me and Paul would talk for hours, yo. Paul would just be asking me questions after questions, like asking me the same questions over and over and over. Like we would talk for a really long time until he finally made up his mind.
Amazing. Amazing. Well, now let's talk about where you guys are today, because there's a lot of people that are watching this and people that are going to watch this that they're like, I get it. I feel exactly how you guys are feeling. I'm going through the same thing that you guys are going through, the manipulation, the control. I see that I'm in a cult. I'm trying to figure out how to get out, but I'm afraid to leave because I don't know what to do. Like, this is all that I have. This was my problem, is that Amway BWW was all that I had for 10 years. It was my identity, like Paul talked about. At the time, it was my only income. My team were my only friends. My uplines were the only people that I looked up to. And I was so afraid of letting that go because I was so afraid of starting over. So why don't you guys share with us, with the viewers and everything, as to where you guys are now that you are leaving? What are some abundance that you've been able to gain after leaving? Because a lot of people are seeing, but look, you lost. This is what I've heard when I shared my story is like, you lost a whole business with like 5, 6, 7 platinums. You lost that Amway income. You lost the BWW income. You lost the respect of all the diamonds. Your sponsor was a diamond. You lost all. But what a lot of people don't see, especially those that have me blocked or those that have us blocked or those that don't follow us because your upline told you not to follow us, is what we have gained. It's so much more. And it honestly doesn't even compare to what we quote unquote lost. If anything, it made room for the abundance that we're experiencing today. So why don't you guys share where you are financially, where you are mentally, where are you spiritually in your relationships that you guys are experiencing now that you have left that environment?
I'll go first. For anybody that's going through that, I definitely can understand. I think the first thing to realize is that it is all in your mind. That's what mind control is. They've come to make you believe that that is true, that you have nothing else, that these are your friends. I remember when I left, and I was so hard when I literally watched every day my followers going down. I was even got this app so I could see who is getting rid of me. And he's like, why are you doing that? Stop doing that. How is that helping you? And I just realized, like, and this is what he said to me, is like, were they ever really your friends? If they're willing to leave and cut you out of your life, out of their life because of you just saying how you feel, that means that you're no longer friends. Were you ever really friends? And I realized all these people you think are your friends, if they're going to leave you because you're leaving the system, then it's called conditional friendship. That's not a real friendship.
Right.
See how I know Akambi and I are good friends, and Hugh and I are good friends because I never cared if they were in business or not. But they do that on purpose, right? When Akambi left, when Hugh left, they make them into these enemies, right? They're the bad guys, right? Don't listen to them. They got all this shit going on or whatever, because they don't want you to hear what we have to say. Right. Because what we have to say, well, if you realize, no, actually, we're not. Actually, we just figured out what's really going on, and they don't want you to hear it. It's like this big game of like, don't figure out what's really going on. And if you do, like, get out of here. And then the ones that do figure it out, they're getting, just like Hugh, they get paid enough to like keep quiet. That's why what Hugh did was such a big deal, because he was guaranteed thousands of dollars a month from his BWW income for the rest of his life for the Emerald ship that he built. If he said nothing, and he gave that up and risked deportation, and gave up, I'm sure, a good chunk of his Amway income, because he realized the truth is more important, and that's how they do it. They try to pay people off, and there's behind the scenes, behind those black curtains, is a completely different reality than what they show you on the stage. And so my advice to you is to meditate. Take a few weeks away from the system. There's a reason why they want you at the meetings 3 times a week. It's because they want to control your mind. That's what I did. I said, let me take a few months and look at it. If you take a few months,
you're never going back.
It's not that you're gonna lose the excitement for your business. You're gonna realize how much they're controlling you. So that's my advice to all of you. All those things that you want to do, they're right in front of you. So it's going to take some healing. I mean, it's like anything. It's getting off of a drug. You're going to, detoxing on a cult. It's hard to accept, especially if you've been doing it for 10, 15 years, right? Or like Noble and Kathy, 20 something years. It's hard. Amazing. But that doesn't mean you can avoid it, right? I know people who just continually are still avoiding it because they don't want to deal with it. But that doesn't change. You're still going to do it eventually. So it took 3 months. I tell you, I took the rapid cult detox program with him. I lived with him for 3 months. I meditated, I did yoga, we worked out. Like, I didn't even know COVID weight was a term until much later, because I was with Hugh. I got in the best shape with Hugh, just fasting and meditating, going into nature, camping, just going back to the roots and just healing and talking. And it was just the most amazing thing to just disconnect and allow all that to come up and feel vulnerable. And, it's going to take some work. It's not easy, but that's on the other side is happiness. And so, since then, I got my dream apartment in Colorado on the 11th floor overlooking the mountains. I was doing all the fun stuff that I wanted to do. Then I got my dream job. And now I've started a couple businesses. Of course, because of all that, I found the love of my life with Michelle. We've been together almost a year, and we've been doing what we wanted to do as diamonds. We're traveling the world right now. You don't need to be a millionaire to travel the world. We're doing it right now. We're not millionaires yet. But we are. What's so amazing is we're flourishing. We went back to Colorado for a little while, and we realized that we weren't flourishing there. We're flourishing when we travel. And so we are, next year I'll probably have 2 6-figure incomes through my job and through my businesses. And that's just an amazing thing, because I never made money in my business. I was always losing money. It's exciting today. I even had an accounting call for our new business. And it's just dawned on me that I'm actually going to make money from this business. So I actually need to track things as opposed to before.
Oh, did we freeze?
Did we freeze?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. Okay.
I think it's the iPhone.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I've never been happier. I've never been healthier, doing all the things that I ever want to do. I feel like I had to rebuild relationship with family. I had to learn how to make friends again.
Oh my God, yeah.
To talk to somebody and not think, "Ooh, this is a sharp person. Let me get their number." Like I had to relearn how to make friends. So my goal is now 0% product use. It used to be 100% product use. Now it's 0%. Although I'm struggling to give up some of the vitamins, but you know, it's you're reprogramming your mind because you were brainwashed and not in a good way, like they convinced you. So
Amazing.
that's it.
Akambi, would you like to share your success as we wrap up our first official episode?
Yeah, another big thing, just to add some perspective to people who, probably are still in the system and probably, still kind of on the fence, realize that everything that you're in a controlled environment.
Mhm.
Even though you might see some people go up as diamonds, emeralds, platinums, or whatever, they're not at the same pin necessarily. A lot of people who go up for these pins that are being recognized at these pins, they haven't hit those levels again in years. All right. And that's a part of how that one rule is actually a way of how they keep people in, because people, they're not necessarily in it for the money anymore, they're in it solely for the recognition. They're there solely because in this world I matter. In this world I am somebody. People look at me as someone just because I did something 5 years ago.
Mhm.
So don't get caught up in that trap. It's not real, and this is more than the few. Trust me, like this happens a lot in the system. I don't know the details, but I've heard that the system is basically crumbling right now.
Mhm.
In terms of just like the leadership and all of that. All of those are telltale signs. So don't feel at all anyway as well that you were duped. I was duped. Paul was
Mhm.
duped. Michelle was duped. I consider myself a very intelligent person. However, I was very much enamored in that system. All right. It happens to every single person. That's why they still exist up to today, because the elements and the things that are involved in it being a cult works. All right,
Mhm.
it works, and it can happen to the best of us. I think the first thing is just to have compassion for yourself, just like you hear Paul talking about just that self-care. um it's important. I did a lot of that as well. I did a whole year worth of that. All right. And it helped me tremendously gain a lot of perspective. Also realize that even though we were in this system, it taught us actually how to tap into our innermost power as human beings, which is the power of belief. I
Mhm.
believe people who are able to actually get out of these systems and rehabilitate themselves to now take on things in the world are actually at a significant advantage over regular people, because we we know the power of belief. We know the power of belief because we've made it work for ourselves, especially if you were successful in Amway. You have some powers in terms of being able to create and manifest. I am telling you. And going into the outside world, outside of the BWW Amway system, and applying that same conviction, that same level of conviction, that same level of belief, you will be able to manifest anything you want. Don't think that by leaving the system is actually going to cripple you. It's actually going to empower you to
Yeah.
know, be tap into these gifts that you have taken the time to harness and build, because it takes a different level of strength to stay in these types of systems,
Mhm.
and it takes a even bigger, different level of strength to leave with a level head and move forward in greatness and in power. So, if I were you guys, I would actually feel very optimistic about leaving, because you can now apply these things in the regular everyday world that most people have no clue about. That
Mm-hmm.
most people actually have no clue about. You are actually on the cutting edge.
Right.
Since I have left the business, I made a decision that I would never live my life in a way that is not true to how I want to live it. I decided to leave my job right before the pandemic, December 2019. I told Paul, I'm leaving my job. He's like, you sure? I'm like, yeah. He's like, what are you gonna do? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. I'll figure it out. Right? Boom. Started my own surveying business. That is now a multiple six-figure business. All right. I actually have had to be turning down clients recently because some clients, they just overstep their boundaries. And again, I am living on my own terms. I will not tolerate it. No amount of money can get me to go back into any of these types of control systems. All right. Because I am a free human being. And in me developing my strength, like growing into my strength and knowing who I am, I was able to attract the love of my life in my now
So
life. Shola, she's been commenting on the YouTube live. Sola a day, go follow her page. All right. Um, you think I'm amazing? Wait till you meet Shola. Like, she makes me look like nothing. All right.
she is
Like,
amazing.
yeah, I was able to manifest her into my life. An amazing human being. She has taught me so much. She has literally held a mirror up in front of me and said, look. And I've had to look every single day I'm with her. And I'm so grateful for her. All right. And Michelle and I, we started a business. It's basically they're doing its thing, even though we basically treat it like the unwanted stepchild most times. It still produces. You get me? It still produces.
Yeah,
It still produces for us.
every month for us. It's
Yeah, like
amazing.
it still produces for us, right? Because again, we both were like, yo, we don't want to go into this thing feeling like it's an obligation to do any of whatever. You get me? It's like we want this to be very organic. We want this to be done on our terms.
Right.
And life is just good. Are there still tough times? Hell yeah, there are still tough times. It's not all peaches and cream. um However, in this chapter, I feel like I choose the struggles. I choose the battles. It's not necessarily things that I have inherited because I'm a part of a system. You know what I mean? It's more of something that I have chosen in my life and I have chosen to work on so that I can grow and be the best me possible.
Right.
And I know that every single person who's in the system now can do that as well. It's not hard. And I think the biggest thing you guys have over everybody else in the world is just that power of belief. You guys know about the power of having that faith and that belief in yourself. And I know you guys would kill it out here. Because trust me, they can't hold a candle to us Amwanians, all right? All right. Like we have gone through the rut and the mud. Like we so when we are out here in the real world, it's like, oh, is that what's causing such a big fuss? Just figure it out. You get me? I would put our heads together and we're able to just push through and figure it out. So leaving was the biggest blessing for me. I have an amazing marriage. I have two businesses that are booming, and I've never made as much money as I'm making now, ever in my life. Can tell you that.
Word.
And enjoy.
And enjoying making the money. Looking forward
Yeah.
to it.
They always
Like
told us
right,
to
like,
be
like right now, I'm in the process of looking to buy 100 acres worth of land in Jamaica.
Amazing.
Right? And we're looking to
Amazing.
start buying like land just everywhere, all over in
Yeah.
the entire world. You get me?
And they always taught us to hate our jobs. I love my job. I really enjoy, and I'm not broke. They always say, "Oh, you love your job, you're broke." No, I love my job, and I really enjoy it. And I'm not stupid. I build a business outside of it too.
I
You
won't
know,
go as far as saying I love my job or anything like that.
I
However,
really like it.
I do enjoy the flexibility I'm able to give myself in my business.
I'm done. Well, Paul is also part owner of his
I
job.
mean, I'm
So,
basically a part owner in a small company. But it's
so it's
something I really
different.
enjoy doing.
Well, that makes sense. That makes sense. That makes sense.
I always add that. You always gotta add that.
Yeah, that makes
The
sense.
old school model, yeah. If I were to have to go into office, I would hate that.
For sure.
Mhm.
Awesome, guys. Well, this is not gonna cut off, right? Because I know we have a minute. Kambi, are we good?
Yeah, I mean,
It's not gonna cut off, right? Because I know we did 2 hours.
what do you mean?
Like it's not, you had, want to make sure it cuts off. So I just do some closing remarks.
No, yeah, you're good. Do
Okay.
some closing remarks.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you guys so much for sharing. Thank you everybody who joined us. There was so many
Bless
people.
up, everybody.
There was a lot of people. Thank you, Paul and Akambi, for sharing your story. That was intense and that was inspiring. That was beautiful. If you guys want to learn more about Akambi and Paul, I'm going to share their Instagrams, YouTube channels, podcasts, all the information up in the description down below, so you guys can follow them and give them some love. Make sure you guys follow them. Share what has been your favorite. Make sure you guys share this live with other people. And this will be posted up on our YouTube channel. Share with other people. Share with those that are still in the system, that are trying to leave, all that good stuff. And with that being said, we will let you guys know when we'll have the second episode a week in advance. So we're so excited to have so many more of you guys as guest speakers to share your story and hold the space for you guys to heal and share what you guys went through, the good, the bad, the beautiful. And we're so excited about that. So I love you guys. Anything you want to say, Akambi, as we wrap up?
I'm just replying to.
Yeah, any Noah, thank you so much for your love. Amazing. Philip has been showing a lot of love. Thalia, thank you for sharing. Thalia was actually on my team. I know exactly who her upline is or was. So thank you for being on, guys.
Noah.
Well,
Bless
Noah,
up,
yeah.
Noah. I remember Noah and I used to go to the same DC open meeting, which was
Amazing.
also not the best.
Yeah, I spoke there once. It was, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We got Penelope from Chicago. What's up, girlfriend? We got Katie from Wisconsin. I don't want to say Ksenia.
So guys, we are basically working towards this being a much bigger TV show. It's gonna be run much more. It's gonna be a little bit tighter. This is our first one, so bear with us. And we're gonna have some really amazing guests come on. And as time goes on, you're definitely gonna see us improve the quality of the show. But look out, we're gonna have some big time guests coming on, some big former pins are gonna be coming on. We've already had a lot of commitments from people who want to come onto the show and tell us their story. So look out for that. And it won't only be like big pins. It's gonna be people who are still doing their marketing, probably kind of have different viewpoints from us. We're gonna invite them on. We're gonna have very constructive, good live debates and all of that. We're gonna have all of that coming up. Stay tuned.
For sure. We're so excited. And if you guys want to be part of our show, you feel like you want to share, make sure you guys email us at support@AuthentiK.biz. I'll put that in the description as well. We would love to have you on, and we're so excited for all the great things that are to come for AuthentiK TV.
Yes, and don't forget to like the video, guys. It helps us out in terms of getting the word out, more people being exposed to the channel, so we can, help whoever this is supposed to help.
For sure. And we are available through Instagram, DMs. Just follow us at Michelle Garabito. I'll put everything in the description. Akambi Famous Amos without the O. Put that in the description in there as well. You guys can DM us. You guys can email us. And if you ever want to hop on the phone with us, we are also available. I'll put our Calendly link in there as well. And we're so excited, guys. Thank you so much for all your support, all your love, all the people that have bought AuthentiK. There's been thousands and thousands of dollars of purchases for the course, thousands of dollars through our personal clients that we mentor and coach one-on-one, thousands of views on our videos, about hundreds of likes on our stuff. We're really appreciative. I never would have thought that a decision that scared me, and I'm sure scared Akambi as well, will lead to us creating this community of healing, of love, of joy. We have such a great time sharing our life with you guys and our success that has come after leaving. And we're so excited to continue to share me and Paul's digital nomad life, and Akambi as he starts his journey and a new married man and buying his land in Jamaica and building his family. And we just have so much to share, and there's so much more out there. So we love you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in to the